Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our next live session. I'll be your producer for our session, but before we start, I do have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. Keep an eye on that chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our presenters to answer. Our session is being recorded. It will be available to view on demand right here on the Microsoft Reactor channel. With that, I'll turn it over to our speaker for today. Thanks for joining us.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Microsoft Reactor. I'm Konstantinos and I'm going to be your host today to continue on our third meeting around MCP and Azure integration. Today we're looking into quite an interesting case that involves a lot of moving parts. So we're going to explore how we can create an engine that can support different connectivity. For example, plain API calls from AI agents or AI chat web apps, and agents that utilize the MCP server, or even a desktop agent like Claude that can connect to our MCP and utilize whatever we have built there. There is a twist in this case that the main framework that we are using is Streamlit, and the models that we are utilizing is GPT-4 and Model Router from Azure OpenAI, a very smart addition in Azure AI Foundry that helps us utilize the best when we ask for information, when we interact with our SLM or LLM. So I do have my presentation that I'm going to explain the idea and what I was looking for and how I came up with this. And then we're going to see the application locally, a part of it in Azure and a part of it in the cloud desktop. So let's see and explore what's going on here. The idea was coming from a place where I was thinking that all the changes that came up the last months could produce a lot of complexity and a little bit of a chaos for people that wanted to, be on the edge, on the cutting edge, let's say better, utilizing the latest in order to test it, in order to go and create something for production reasons because it was about time to have that, functionality or whatever, and uh, different tools that were available. So the choice was not quite clear. So this is like constantly switching AI personas and friction, and this creates friction for developers. We have to manage different types of applications, different types of frameworks. MCP now came into the game, and it has produced a lot of waves in the developer community, and everyone is building, and we are building and we are evolving and we are building. But if we take a step back and say, hey, what's going on here, we will realize that the traditional way of interacting with our application will never go away. There will still be APIs, and in fact, what we will be left with is a number of choices. So how would be to have a chat playground system that use a centralized orchestrator that enables this seamless scenario where for our AI chat sessions also have the ability For independent chat sessions to enhance workflow and reduce context switching challenges. So a number of people, developers, agents, systems, applications can connect to this centralized orchestrator and utilize whatever is built there, a simple chat playground in our case, but we can take it a lot further and also have these fast iteration cycles that can drive experimentation and future development efficiency. The key capabilities here is that we have scenario awareness. Uh, we can and we have the capability for tailored conversation based on user context. Each session is on its own, let's say, sandbox, in quotes, sandbox, and it doesn't have to do anything with other user sessions. The session management itself is very easy. We have already in the same framework, in the same tooling system, the management tools and the management interface, let's say. The access can be dual. So we have REST API on one hand and MCP interfaces on the other hand, or MCP wrapper if we want to wrap our MCP into HTTP and publish it for consuming it through web applications. And there is here the idea moment, the light bulb moment. I was experimenting also with Streamlit, so I had this, in the start I thought it was, a silly idea, but then I realized that it was a good idea to integrate Streamlit for these seamless workflows. And for people that you don't know, Streamlit is an AI machine learning framework for developers, very easy to manage, deploy, and build on it. It provides a lot of layers of connectivity, of visualization and interface. So it makes it easy for developers and newcomers to create quickly applications and work on their AI cases. So here we have our, let's say, architecture. Okay, in the middle we have this engine constructed with Streamlit and FastAPI that drives web applications, and MCP seamlessly integrates AI tools, and this is what provides us this unified interface for enhanced user experience. And I think I do have this architecture here. I try to depict it the best possible way. I think this is the one that makes sense for everyone and for us to understand what's going on. So we have Streamlit being the center in the center of this engine. Uh, Fast API provides access to API and web clients. MCP server wrapped in HTTP and left alone, let's say, for MCP clients to consume it. And Streamlit is the gateway for endpoints and tools. So for making this idea have this, how we can say it, represent the actual case that I'm explaining, I have created four tools, let's say. So one tool should be document processing, another tool would be code review, another tool would be technical support, and the final tool could be creative writing. In reality, you can have anything you want, and also Streamlit provides us the capability to switch the model, so we can use GPT-4o or go for model router, and that provides us another layer of flexibility regarding the interaction with our LLM. There are challenges. This specific deployment idea slash deployment took me a lot of time. Um, there are a lot of protocols involved here. We need to kind of bridge the connectivity, make different aspects work together, make the user experience seamless, you know. So uh, after a lot of effort, we are able to say that yes, this is possible. We can do it. And of course, this demo that we're going to see in a few, it's a very small representation of the greater idea, and the actual capabilities that are there are quite enormous. What we are achieving here is enhancing productivity and collaboration efforts. We have a faster iteration cycles, significantly improved team collaboration. So there is a more efficient workflow. The processes are streamlined, as we said earlier, through this uh, separation of context and user sessions under the same hood. There is central management, but independent developers and thinkers and builders utilizing this engine. There could be next steps. So, for example, implementing support for multiple users sharing resources at the same time, persistence, introducing data storage solution. This is something that I really wanted to implement, but I was out of time. Um, you know, provide data storage solution for everyone under again the same engine. So managed under one interface, let's say, but providing this data sharing or data access or file access capability to the users. Integration, really, really important here. I think this is one of the most important steps into this idea to connect external systems and broaden functionality, data access. For example, let's say that we could have a CRM or an ERP system that could interact independently with each user. So imagine the same system under one connectivity route, but each user through their own context and session can have their own interactivity with this external integration. I know it sounds very difficult. It is difficult, but it is possible, and we can do it. And finally, workflow enhancements for improving the orchestration of tasks, for increased efficiency and flexibility, and choosing the correct platform. This is also something that is really, really challenging. What I'm understanding right now that we are also into this, and I'm presenting it, is that, and this is something that also came to me while I was building this, that AKS is probably the best for this type of solution. So I'm using container apps, and like 90% of the system works seamlessly, but there are things that I think only Kubernetes can solve for us, and that's why I believe that AKS is the best hosting solution for this type of deployment. So when we come to our end, we can have uh, questions. I'm Konstantinos, and let's have a look on our demo. Allow me to stop the presentation and switch to our terminal. I'm going to zoom in. So let me zoom in here. Don't worry about um, uh, sensitive data. No sensitive data here. Everything is temporary, so there is no issue. So we're using VS Code, we're using Cloud Desktop, and we're using Azure. Okay, so don't be scared with the number of files and folders that are here. This is very heavy experimented situation. I experimented a lot here. until I reach the final state. So let's have a quick look on how this works locally, and then we will have a quick taste of how this could work in the cloud. Okay, so let me show you. Let me close this. Let me also close this. This is the management interface. So we have, as we said, FastAPI, Streamlit, Python is the master here. Okay, it's our framework. There is nothing else involved. Uh, it is FastAPI, Python, Streamlit. This is our collection of tools. The first thing that we are able to see is this management interface and also this gateway interface. So a user can select one of the four different tools to work with. So it can be code review, creative writing, technical support, or document analysis. Let's say that we want to go with code review. When the users click on a specific tool, they are taken to this interface that is designated to work for this specific type of requirement. Of course, I'm sorry, ideas can flow here. Okay, we can provide users dedicated URLs, for example. So let's say we have a team of developers that are working on a specific case. We can provide a dedicated URL so they can have their own context without having to select, for example. But these are minor cases for the bigger picture, right? This is a very raw project. Remember, this is a very raw project. So the user is presented with this user interface. You can make some toggle here. I don't think that I have implemented the actual dark light theme. You can choose your model, GPT-4o or model router. Of course, you can play around with temperature, with maximum tokens, and the configuration parameters for your AI model. You can change the preset for your system prompt. There are a lot of prompts that you can implement here. Creative writer, code reviewer. For our example, it should be code reviewer, and save it as a preset, and keep it like my preset, or provide the name for your specific scenario. And now you're here with your main interface. So we can say very simple questions. What is Streamlit? Let's send it to our uh, model router. Give it a moment. And you can see that the assistant. Now what happened in the background? Let's have a quick look here. Since we have selected model router, Azure AI Foundry selected the best model for this specific type of question. And after it made the selection for us, it is returning the answer. And you can see here that it is quite an enriched answer. Okay, very nice, very well constructed with a lot of information and details. Everything that we are doing into this interface provides us with information of what's going on. For example, we can see the number of tokens that we consumed. We can clear the chat, clear the input, and also we can have some quick actions here for our model. So, for example, we can say, give me examples, and that's it. The model will need to uh, find us examples of this. I need to present. I know. So yes, giving examples is a quick action. So it's a follow-up question for our model. Let's wait. Also, some summarization we can have. with, are we waiting? Yes. Let me refresh here. We can also have summarization. So quick questions with specific intent. Summarize the key points of the agile methodology. That's it. Another question implemented with a system prompt. Act as a career coach and help improve my uh, resume. Okay. Review this code for potential improvements and paste your code there. You can have also these advanced features. So you can search within the messages and you can see what's the average tokens that the assistant consumed. And also, quite important, you can get the raw chat history in this JSON format. Also, you can just select another model, and of course, we can start adding here GPT-5, the mini family of models, Phi, or whatever you want from Azure AI Foundry. At the same time that this user is working, another user can come up and say, okay, I want some creative writing. So what's going on? The user is provided with this session. That's it. They have their own chat session, creative writing assistant. Let's select the model router and let's say create a good epilogue for a drama book sample to make it more clear because it's very vague to say just an epilogue for a drama book. So here it is. Our dedicated assistant with this specific instruction is able to provide us with what we asked for. At the same time, another user is working here. You can see that the user is identified as web user, and I will explain in a bit why we can see it like that. And there is another web user as well here. At the end of the day, more and more users are connecting into our application, and the the admin interface, let's say, remains active. You have the capability to connect to the session that someone may have left open or provide this capability to your users. So a user starts a session, then leaves their position, their office, they take a break, and then they can return back and just hit open in their session, and everything will be exactly as they left it. So it is their own context, as we said, their own session, independent from each other. Of course, you need different ports for each session. We're serving this through our FastAPI. You can also close the session. So this is something that, for example, is a good idea to have separate administrative interface and user interfaces. Now, there is also another type of user that can be implemented here. Give a moment to quickly look around, and I think I know where is this. I think it's this one. It's using MCP to connect via CLI. So let me give it a shot here, okay? It should be, come on, it should be this MCP CLI. There are a lot of files. Again, this is one of the most complex things that I have ever created. I was very worried that I was creating a monster, a Frankenstein, as we call it. But sometimes if you don't push your limits, sometimes you need to go and walk the road, as we say, and there is light at the other end of the tunnel. So yeah, you can see here that the MCP CLI connected to our MCP portion of our solution, discovered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tools. I will explain the tools, and it is starting to make some tests. So ping agent is this just checking the connectivity. It will list the sessions, and it just found 2 active sessions. It will launch a custom session. It will test this custom uh, session with one of the scenarios available, and that's it. If we return to our management, let's say, or to our main interface, you will see here that more users have been added. And now in this case, this is the demo support user, the demo writing user, and so on. I don't know what will happen if I open the session since it has been closed. So yeah, I can also take over this session that was created by the demo writing user. Very interesting, right? You can see here more information about the session context, the session ID, the user ID, time stub, the max tokens configured, and there is no additional context since we did this through the CLI. So we have already seen, let me close everything. So we have already seen uh, web users being able to connect and utilize it through a very simple web interface, but also MCP CLI prompt, I'm sorry, MCP CLI engine with pre-configured prompt within the program, utilizing through MCP. Multi-tool capability. Imagine also having developers working on CLI, and instead of having to open another interface, open another window, or trying to find, another tool to open to get some assistance, having their assistance directly on the CLI. This is also something that's, I think it's a very nice idea. Now, for the tools that I explained earlier, there is this separate interface in another port. Yeah, I think it's this one. Or we have stopped it. Give me a moment. So here we have this one. It's running. It's running. Yes, this is good. I think we stopped. Yes, I think the CLI. Okay. The CLI didn't stop it. I hope. Or it is another port. Let me find the correct port. Maybe I'm not using the correct port, and I'm suspecting that it's not the correct port right now. So give me a moment to hit the correct port. It's not here. Give me a moment. Yeah, this one. See if it is running. Okay, let me stop it. I think the CLI session, I think it stops the MCP server. So let me stop it and restart it. While this is trying to be killed, let me explain something really, really nice. Now, I explained earlier that it would be beneficial and that the most appropriate hosting tool for such an engine would be AKS. And yes, I agree. The first experiment with Azure Container Apps is very, very promising. So what we have here, let me clear up a little bit since you have seen already what's going on, and let me explain what we have here. So we have deployed the core engine as a new container app and the web engine as another container app. So you can see here, I can have my web engine with the URL clickable here. And here is the MCP chat playground that I was looking for in the local host, but anyway, it is available through our web. It's a nice um, transition to the cloud. So from here, you can see that you have the available tools that provide management capabilities through MCP for your sessions. So you can launch a new chat session, you can list your session, you can close a session, and quick launch the other available predefined sessions created via our server. The ping agent that just makes tests, and you can also have quick launch uh, through the MCP wrapper this time. Also, we have the main Streamlit FastAPI core web app using this MCP core. Let me show you what we saw just earlier. Okay, and I can close this and I can close this, and maybe we can start, a technical support agent or creative writing, and you can see here that it will try to open the appropriate tools, but this part is not yet completed. So let's return to the tooling. So container apps, very promising for testing. Again, I believe the correct and more appropriate tool would be AKS. So you will see very soon in my GitHub repo the finalized AKS version of it. Probably I will share it with AZD if everything checks out as I'm um, aspiring. And finally, Claude. Let me stop everything and restart it so our engine doesn't fail us. So you need to start it in a specific order. You can see here that you have a lot of messaging and logging for each and every session and everything that is happening in the background. So let me also close everything here. Very nice. So let's start it again, and this time we're going to utilize Claude. I need to start it. So from this console, we need Python start py, and we need the MCP web client from another CLI. Let me bring it close to the one that we're using so we can have better control in our console. A lot of experimentation. I will show you once more the final files that I have there. Yeah, you will understand. It's our MCP web client. Yes, perfect. Yes, this is the port that I was trying to show you, but it was a good idea to show you the cloud version of it. Here is also the on-prem version of it, right? So list sessions executed successfully, the ping agent, quick launch, document analysis, and so on. Now, let's go to our locally running Claude tool. We are aware that there is a specific way to uh, integrate your own MCP server with this type of tools, this type of software that they can seamlessly connect to MCP servers without the need of wrappers or without the need of any bridging or proxying mechanisms. For Claude, all you have to do is create this type of connector. If you don't know how this is done, let me show you real quick. I think I remember how it is done. You need to go to your user profile from your users, and here you need to find, I think it is application data. I think I'm on the correct path. Cloud update. Just, no, it's not this one. Yeah, I think I don't remember the correct way to do this. Cloud code. There is a specific file that you need to edit in order to provide this connector to your cloud application. If I remember it, I will tell you. Otherwise, we can also search it on the internet. So you just need to make that addition to the file. Once you make it, you will be presented with this addition, this switch, let's say, that provides you access to your MCP server, to your MCP engine using the data that we just created. And the the tools that we have available through our web interface, through our FastAPI, through our MCP wrapper are also available as tools for our cloud engine. So let's say we have this one. Let me also start a new session. Here is the session. You can see that it appeared on the right. This is a little bit better from the user interface perspective. Nicer graphics, but it's a little bit heavier, so it may hang. Creative Assistant, we just started a new session, okay? So uh, let's get the list sessions tool, and I think it will be able to use it. Let's see. If it doesn't, I haven't made the, oh, it's starting to using it, and here is the results. Yes, I have made the correct configuration. I'm sorry I didn't found it, but if we have time at the end, I can have another look. It's there. It's in the internet. You can see how you can add a connector to your Cloud desktop for connecting with your MCP. So I'm sorry. So you see here, list session is the tool that we are exposing to Claude. Claude is able to understand easily what's going on because we have done whatever is needed for Claude to be seamlessly integrated into this MCP server, and each tool that we're going to ask information from, it will be uh, it will respond. So let me try something. I think there are some limitations on the tools, but why not experiment, right? I'm advocating for people that like to experiment. I think the quick launch is not working, but okay, allow. I don't remember this part, so let's experiment. Yeah, success. The session is active, and you can also get it through your URL. Just click on it, and here you are. You will have a new What type of session was that? The technical support chat session agent for your user. Now, it doesn't have any meaning to start interacting here. The point is to see how the engine works, right? So here is our cloud. Here is our, I'm sorry. Here is our cloud. Here is our uh, sessions, our MCP wrapper, and our Streamlit FastAPI engine. Everything can be deployed in Azure Container Apps. Uh, Let me show you now the real deal. So let's see. I was able to gather everything and put it under one directory, this multi-MCP. Let me make it a little bit bigger since I'm going to stay a little bit here. It's all about the challenge. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. First of all, you need your Python environment. Don't forget that. When you are working with Python, create your Python environment beforehand. You need one environment variable, so that would be your Azure OpenAI details. I'm using only one key, but that's not a good practice. You need every sensitive information to be prepared as environment variable and not expose it through any means. And we have here the MCP web engine that's using this MCP server enhanced PI and the MCP web client. So each one is completing the other one. Okay, so on one hand, we have this stylish web user interface for the MCP chat playground, and here is the actual MCP server. It's the same one that we're using on prem with a couple of corrections for the cloud. And here we have the MCP server enhanced for cloud to be able to run through a server in the cloud. That part, it hasn't been done yet, but it will be completed eventually. So our cloud desktop will be able to connect to a cloud instance of our MCP server. And finally, the core engine where our Streamlit lives. Our Streamlit in reality is a very long Python application, and uh, our agent, let's say, or our how can I say? Yes, our agent that provides connectivity through uh, through the Streamlit main engine for our MCP and FastAPI endpoints. So you can understand here how complex this thing became from a very simple idea. Provide through the same engine, different contexts and different users capability to utilize this engine's gateway to LLMs and tools. And it is something that can be done, as you can see. You need to be patient if you want to work on this. I'm open to contributions, but it is not yet published in GitHub. Okay, there is. We have this. I have this blog post that explain a little bit how this thing works. You can search it through my cloudblogger.eu blog, how you can build this, but you will need help definitely. So don't hesitate to contact me so I can help you build it. And at the time that you're going to pick me, since I'm already working on this, you will get cleaner and more efficient code for your MCP. I think I have said enough. I hope that you like this session. It's very different than the usual sessions that we have presented so far. But you know what? In the era of AI and in the era of innovation, we're allowed to experiment as much as possible. And we're not only allowed, we are I mean, we are obligated to experiment. If we're not experiment now, we're going to lose the train, and maybe some fine ideas maybe get lost in time, and innovation doesn't wait. So do it, do it for yourself, do it for your friends, do it for your company. Just go ahead and experiment yourself with the best tools that are out there. For me, Azure is the best hosting platform, and AKS right now is the best option for this type of implementations. We're going to see more, remember my words, of this. And Container Apps is excellent for a prototyping and maybe something a little bit similar. But this type of complexity requires AKS. I don't know if we have any questions. I would like to thank you so much for being here with me and being patient with me on this um, a little bit odd uh, mechanism. I think it is interesting, and I think that anyone that would like to take it a little bit further will be able to do it. I will be there for you if you need any help. I'm Konstantinos. This is Microsoft Reactor, and we are closing our third uh, appointment of our 4 days event series. Tomorrow we have our final session with one of the most interesting themes that I could think of. Imagine having your own uh, MCP server in a web app and providing your users in tune deployed tools to utilize this MCP server. Chat interface, file search, or whatever tool you want to build, and everything managed under your organization's hat with Intune and everything. Another very interesting idea. And yeah, I think that's it for today. I would like to thank also our host for having us, for having me also today. Our appointment goes for tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on this session. Like Constantino said, we do have one last session tomorrow. And if I do say so myself, I think it's going to be a very fun and interesting one. So we do look forward to seeing you again, same time, right here at the Microsoft Reactor. As always, guys, we strive to create excellent content for all of you, and we would appreciate if you took some time to scan the QR code on the screen and shared your thoughts and comments about today's session with us. This is going to help us continue creating more sessions, improving them for all of you based on whatever is it that you share with us. And as always, we appreciate your time and we look forward to seeing you here at the Microsoft Reactor. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your days.